funny things are also not the nicest things to say about a person who's made a movie. Movie reviews start as opinion. It is a person's opinion, but it can't just be an opinion.
Not everybody is going to like everything you do, and you just need to be okay with it. I look at the nice DMs where people are like, I love you, you are so cute, hey.
Go tell the world I loved it, that I loved it. Every time I caught a smile, that I loved it. Sometimes it makes me hopeless, but I still loved it.
To start off with, Srishti and Sucharita, like one of the big points in terms of how to tackle problematic elements that I see as a commonality between the way you guys treat both your work is the use of humor and the use of relatability. There are two tools you use, not weaponize them, but use tools to bring your audiences to your platforms. Could you tell us individually what humor does to you? Like, why do you use that as a tool and what it's done for you? Srishti, do you want to start off?
I feel like when you use humor, people don't take you very seriously, and like immediately that wall comes down where they'll be like, chutiya. But they will also like maybe listen a little more keenly and like be interested in what you have to say. Like it works like simultaneously where they'll not take you seriously, but also be like, let's see what funny things she has to say. And it can make people think. Like my objective of like being funny is to make people like me and seek attention. But as a side benefit of it, if it makes people think things that they've not thought of before, and if it makes them reevaluate certain opinions that they've had, then that's a nice side benefit of being funny and like hitting the right note with people. But I only use humor for attention and likability. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess it diffuses tension in a way that it makes people listen more rather than get defensive.
Yeah, because if you're gonna just be like,
yahi karna chahiye,
ki baat sun, like they'll just be like, no, fuck off, no, we don't care. But if you're like, you reel them in and like you're like, hey, we are also funny, you're also funny, and then they'll probably be more interested in what you have to say. That's been my personal experience.
Yeah. So, Sucharita, you do get into sociological, psychological perspectives beyond just talking about the film. You place it against our realities, you place it in real life situations. How does humor help you connect to the people you're chatting with?
So my relationship with humor in my writing is the exact opposite of Srishti's, because when I bring humor in my critical analysis of a film, people are like, chutiya. Ulta hota hai mere saath. So when I crack a joke, people tend to not take me seriously, as opposed to, there's a certain level of hubris involved if you're a film critic. Like, I am going to now tell you things and you are now going to listen to the things I say. So adding in humor there without diluting the message of what I'm trying to say and my translation of the film that I'm talking about, or the show, or any production that I'm talking about, is so calculated, and it's so important to put it in the right amount of doses without kind of cutting down the significance of the words that I'm actually saying. The other thing, as any film critic will tell you, the reviews that tend to go quote-unquote viral or more popular are the reviews of the bad films, are the negative reviews always. Editors love those reviews, the janta loves those reviews. So you have to be so careful about when your humor crosses over into cruelty when you're writing a movie review specifically. You can make fun of a movie if it deserves to be made fun of, because if the intention of the movie is something and it's not able to achieve it, but the intention of the film was correct, you stop yourself. But if the intention of the film is something that jo hasyaspad hai, jo itni stupid or itni silly hai, then you add in humor there. But you have to be so careful of like when you're crossing over the line into being mean, using your humor to be mean. So it's very, very calculated.
This is really interesting. I also want to get into how pop culture in India has used humor a little more, where it's always been weaponized in a way. It's always been used to kind of punch down for the longest time. We use it to make fun of certain people, communities, and which doesn't, of course, fly anymore. But like, then are you also conscious of, as you're saying, like using humor in the right way where it's not punching down?
Yeah, constantly. Like, you have to contextualize. If you're making a joke, then the next paragraph is about your joke, explaining why that emotion that's made you say those like I neatly like funny things, but are also not the nicest things to say about a person who's made a movie. But then you don't just say that and then move on to the next thing. You say the words that you say, you're being funny and you're saying funny things. But then the next paragraph is contextualizing it, talking about where, what your justification behind the joke is.
And not just letting it be because, like, I mean, what is the purpose of it?
If you're just
then?
letting the thought out there, then it's just your opinion, man.
Yeah.
You know, if anyone's seen The Big Lebowski, if everybody gets that reference, it's just like your opinion, man. You have to justify your opinion and tell, you make a joke, now tell me why.
Yeah. I want to get into the problematic things which are normalized by pop culture, like just very broadly. And I know this is getting into a laundry list of sorts. But what do you think are the ones that we see very openly? But I also want to touch into what are these things which are still flying under the radar that, you know, like we still have to catch up to. Like in the work that you individually do, what are the things that you keep confronting as problematic elements every now and then? Do you want to go first, Srishti?
You go.
I go, okay. Yeah. I have a very long list. It just so happens, and I see Ghazal is sitting in the audience here right now, but it just so happens, and she'll tell you that it's still, the film industry, at least the Hindi film industry, is still like, it's all dudes, it's mostly men in writing rooms, writing characters, writing films, and slowly and gradually screenwriters like Ghazal and other Ghazals, one Ghazal only, her and others are making their way into writing rooms and writing those films. So that is the first thing that I feel like we must constantly keep addressing, that how many women are actually writing things, how many members of the LGBTQIA community are writing movies, how many Dalits are writing films, how many people with disabilities are being given entry into those movies, into those writing rooms where these movies are being written. Because entertainment के लिए होती हैं फिल्में, but it is the strongest form of mass communication, exploitation, manipulation, idea dissemination that any country has, and has been, the medium has been weaponized by people in power since time immemorial. So who are the people who are writing the films and everything that you're consuming? That is definitely number one thing that I feel like I must be questioning all the time, which still goes a little bit under the radar कि ये लिखा किसने है, ये कहाँ से आए ये कहानियाँ. उसके अलावा और भी बहुत सारे ट्रोप्स हैं यार, मतलब लग जाएंगे, वायलेंस क्यों है इतनी, वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन क्यों है इतनी, उसको क्यों इतना दिखाया जा रहा है, यूज़ किया जा रहा है, यू नो, अननेसेसरी है, ज़रूरी है, फलाना फलाना बहुत सारे हैं.
Yeah. Srishti?
I feel like the biggest thing of slotting women as either the Madonna or the whore and nothing in between. Like you either put her on a pedestal or she's an absolute slut or like someone who's very unlikable. And that is a common theme in like a lot of media I see. And it's something that bothers me because women are people too, and sometimes we are not as evil we could be, or sometimes we are not as pious we could be. And where is the in-between? Where is the realistic woman who is real, has different motivations, and is not just like
black or white?
Not black or white. मतलब मेरे को वो देख के थोड़ा मेरे को लगता है कि ऐसी औरतें नहीं होती हैं. Like sometimes I'll see some dialogue by a woman that is obviously written by men, and I'll be like, women don't talk like this. Like I catch myself saying that a lot while I'm watching a lot of like Indian content.
But I also want to get into like a couple of problematic elements that you guys have spoken about in your work that maybe many of us here have felt as well. They could be like such spokenly about problematic elements like in a film like Kabir Singh, where misogyny, casteism, toxic masculinity, sexual harassment, that's also a laundry list of things that we're talking about. How do you, Sucharita, deal with them? Because you probably have less of a choice because you're also here to tell us about it. So I can barricade myself against that content, but maybe you can't and you have to address it. So how do you feel when you're getting into these problematic elements? And what are the hacks that we, as people viewing it and have power in our own ways, how can we view such content as well?
The film critic's job is to see the moving images, sights and sounds that are being thrown at you from a gigantic film screen in a darkened theater where the audience is completely surrendered to the illusion. I will believe what you show me. That's the first instinct with which a person gets into a film. A film critic's job is to translate that and give one of the it's a multi-layered process and profession and job. But one of the things that we do is we translate the moving image and tell Dhvani sitting in the audience that I know you're feeling a little bit of anger. Let me try and contextualize that for you. I will tell you why you're feeling this way. I will tell you why I felt that way. I will walk out of a movie theater. Movie reviews start as opinion. It is a person's opinion, but it can't just be an opinion. Then it has to then evolve into analytical understanding, academic thinking, a deeper introspection into what is the mass media that you're consuming right now saying to you guys. So the idea behind any film review is I am going to give you some sort of articulation to what you've just seen and experienced. Now, I am going to encourage you to use your agency, your lived experience, your life, the way you're living your life right now, what your means are, and take all of that and then try to understand the message that is coming to you and how that is impacting your life and what you're imbibing from it in your life. So to give people that language is, not language in like the literal sense, the English ke words, which I get a lot in my comments. Tere English seekhne aate hum yahan par. But you know what I'm saying, right? So
language isn't just the words to define what you're feeling anyway. Like, you're feeling this, it's uncomfortable, but you don't know how.
And then you watch someone explain exactly why you're feeling that way. You may or may not agree with one person. Then you go to another film critic that you may or may not agree with again. Then you find another one. And then that kind of builds like a center point where people can put their faith, put their trust, and have you do the analyzing so that they can take that understanding and that education and then figure out for themselves what they are consuming and how that is impacting their lives in the name of entertainment. So a good film critic will give you their opinion and then like really kind of explain why.
Srishti, I also want to address, of course, the trolls that keep coming, that keep knocking at your door when you put yourself out there invariably. I guess all of us in our own way have faced it in our own lives when we've put opinions out there. Also, the environment or the climate is such where it gives people more power to say what they want without having consequences for it. But how do you deal with them? Like, is it easy to disregard them now? How does it affect you? How do you deal with them?
Block, restrict. I mean, see, the thing is that they also want something to do with that day. And it's their decision that they're not doing anything productive with it. I don't really have to give them my time and also go down the rabbit hole of being unproductive with them by starting a whole, main chutiya nahi, tu chutiya. Like, I don't want to do that because I have better things to do in life and I would focus my energy on that. And also, not everybody is going to like everything you do and you just need to be okay with it. Like, who am I to assume that everybody across the board is going to be into whoever I am as a person? They won't be. There will be things that will piss them off. There will be things that make them hateful. I personally, even if I don't like someone to that extent, I personally will never go to their Instagram and like leave a hateful comment. So I don't really get the impulse of that. I have learned that it's for attention and the easiest way to deal with it is to not give attention and kind of move on with your day because honestly, at this point, it doesn't affect me. I have too many things to do and way more productive things to invest my time in rather than looking at DMs and like I look at the nice DMs where people are like, I love you, you are so cute, hey. I like to engage with that. I would rather spend my time doing that than giving any kind of importance to the hate.